you know that even if you lashed out, let's say your mom or I lashed out at you, I know that you won't, just
Never talk to you again.
never talk to me again, or just cut the relationship, right? Because there's so much that's already built, so much history.
Like, for example, someone you're really close with, like a relative or a friend or a spouse, how if you do that long enough where you keep taking things for granted or you keep unloading, and every time you talk to that person you snap at them.
Yeah, it'll definitely put a wedge into the relationship.
Right, there's only so much I think that everybody can take. There's a breaking point for people, so that's why I think it's important to be aware of that happening, because sometimes we're not.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and I've been fumbling around with this set for 10 minutes today?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties,
We're having a little technical difficulties today.
Yeah, we took a little bit of a break with recording.
Yeah.
So today's after 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So now we're finally back in the studio, our little studio here.
Our little studio.
And
Fumbling a little
bit, but we'll get back into the groove of things.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the topic today.
Yeah, so the topic today is, why are we mean to the ones we're closest to?
Yeah, why are you mean to me? Hey, the microphone's working well again.
Oh, that's
Just
good.
thought you'd not want to know.
That's a good sign.
If I feel victorious now.
That's
you know how
sign.
whenever you run into technical stuff on your computer or it's not working. Oh, speaking of that, yeah, we got to share that. But once you're done with it and you figure it out, it's the best feeling in the world, you know?
Yeah. So last week I had a ghost in my computer. It started typing hi, HY by itself in the search engine.
At first, so when she was telling me about this, I was like...
It was really late too. It was at 1 a.m. I was just winding down. It was one of those long days where, we wanted to sleep a little later, and I was just on YouTube, and I was watching this documentary, and then
about ghosts?
No, not about ghosts. I was just watching this documentary, and suddenly, the switch for the lighting on the keyboard kept going on and off, and it kept appearing on my desk, and then every time I did that, it would freeze the computer for a second, or it'll rewind the clip back a couple minutes.
Yeah. I when you were telling me about this was happening, I was in the other room.
Yeah.
And then I came in, and then I was chilling with you.
Yeah, and then every time it happened, I would tell you, hey, look, it's happening again. and then after I started typing by itself, I was typing random stuff.
Well, whenever you would tell me oh, look, it's doing it, I was watching something else, and then when I looked over, I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you trying to trick me or something? Are you messing with me?
But that was before I started typing by itself.
Yeah, and then when it was really typing these long strings and stuff, right? It was changing your URL or something, and then it rewinded your YouTube video. I actually saw that happen. And I was like, oh crap, what the hell's going on? That was a little freaky.
That was super freaky. And then for some reason the space bar and the H, it was stuck. It was weird. It was a weird keyboard thing.
Yeah, but we figured it out afterwards.
Well, we thought it was a virus, but it wasn't. It was the laptop came back clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We just did some updates and some restarting, and then the keyboard got fixed when I kind of dropped my laptop the next day. So there you go.
Yeah.
So that was
that was fun. But anyways, so we're up and running, and today's topic on an unrelated matter is why are we mean to the ones closest to us, right? We said that earlier, and I definitely want to know. I'm curious now because I do feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, I think with this, quarantine good, I mean, there's a lot of bad, but there's a lot of good that came from it too, because it gave me a lot of time to, just reflect on, just through like relationships, right? Whether it's with you or family or friends. And, one thing I do realize is that sometimes I have to do a better job communicating, the way I feel, especially to you sometimes. Like I come home from work or, well, not as much now, but because I work from home now, but like before, I would come home from a long day from work, and let's say if I was having a bad day, or just in general, I'm having a bad day, and you ask me something, or I'm doing something, you happen to get in the way, like I get immediately irritated and I'll lash out on you. But it's weird because it's almost like in a way it felt good, but then in a way like I felt bad because I'm like, wait, it had nothing to do with you, right? And the way I'm lashing out at you, and I feel like I just need to do a better job. Whether it's if I'm having a bad day and I need space, right? I need to do a better job setting boundaries and letting you know and communicating that instead of lashing at you so you can go away.
Yeah. So wow. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. I definitely, we joke about it, but before, I think when we finally had a conversation about it, it was like I think I brought up that sometimes I felt like I was a little bit of a punching bag. We joke about it.
Yeah.
But that's also, it was fair because in the sense of, I don't think you were doing that intentionally, for sure. You weren't intentionally trying to lash out and dump and unload all that stress or whatever you were dealing with that day onto me. It was more of just not being aware of maybe how that would impact me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like, as human beings, like the way we react, sometimes it happens faster than your mind thinking it through.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like, especially when I'm at home, my guards are down. And especially with you, right? I'm so comfortable with you because we've been together for so long, and, we've built like a long relationship and history together that, I feel like it just comes with the good and the bad, right? You've seen me at my best, and then you've seen me at my worst.
Yeah. Both ways, right? It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I think just to kind of sidetrack a little bit, but how we came up with this topic in the first place and why we even started talking about this was because more recently I had a similar situation with my mom, and my mom, she obviously loves her kids, and she loves like checking in on us. And even before the quarantine, one of the things she would always do was call us a couple of times a week.
You mean per day?
My mom would contact us and just check in, how you're doing, what are you up to, that kind of stuff, right? What parents would do.
But like 4 times a day, 4 to 5 times a day. It was a little bit
you
much.
Witnessed it, huh?
Yeah, it was a bit much.
It was getting a little bit much in the sense that, she would call during the middle of the day, during the weekday. I'd be busy doing work or something, and I wouldn't be able to give her my full attention. I'd be distracted doing other things, or, I'm dealing with some stress at that time and trying to put out some fires or help a client with something. And, I didn't want to be rude and just be like, hey, Mom, I can't talk to you right now. I probably should have been more direct with her. But for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, I felt kind of bad. Like, she's calling me. I didn't want to just like hang up on her. It's my mom calling.
Yeah.
And so instead of, directly telling her that, I kind of let that go. So I would usually, when she would call, I'll just let her talk.
Yeah.
It's just kind of talking and we're chit-chatting. I'm kind of like, yeah, that's cool, or whatever, right, in Cantonese. And I'm like busy typing or doing something else. And I didn't realize I was doing that either for the longest time. And it wasn't until this quarantine and earlier in the year where my siblings and I were kind of, talking on one of our calls, and we all brought up like, oh, mom does that to you too, right?
She's like, she takes turns.
Yeah, she'll call one kid after the other.
Yeah. So 5 times 3, so that's 15 calls a day.
My mom's bored at home.
Yeah.
But we were just laughing about it, and we're like, oh my goodness, and then we were like, how do we resolve this? Because we know why she's calling. Her intent is good.
Yeah, her intent is good.
She's calling because she loves us, and I appreciate that, and I get where she's coming from. So what we discussed was like, how can we let her know that, or to help her respect our time a little bit more, and vice versa, because so we talked about, well, why don't we tell her that, here are the days that work best for us, and these are the days you can call as much as you want. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like the thing, right?
Yeah.
We set it as Fridays and the weekend basically, but not during the weekday because we're busy and we're tired after the long day, whatever it might be. So we just laid out like some days for her where she would call us, and then she would have our full attention. I think that was the other thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't fair to imagine you call somebody and then you don't even have their full attention. They're doing all sorts of other things. That's not a quality conversation. So anyways, so we set that as a kind of rule, but that just came about, and it's been working great since then. But the reason that I'm glad that happened was because I didn't notice how it was coming off to my mom either. Every time she would call, I would sound irritated. I would sound a little annoyed. And sometimes I felt like, well, now looking back, it's kind of like, man, I was kind of rude to her too, in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, why are you calling, mom? Or like, like when she would call, I'd be like, oh, what do you want, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
So I caught myself doing that, and now, and that was part of because of the quarantine.
Yeah, but I think that kind of came from frustration too, because you've communicated that with her in the past, that that she shouldn't be calling you like 5 times a day.
I think I did it in a snappy way though. Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah, and maybe the communication wasn't clear. Like,
right.
You told her that she can't call you that many times because it interrupted your day and your schedule, but you didn't give her a solution.
Right.
You just stop calling me so much.
It would be like mom would be calling me a couple times throughout the day or whatever, or the week, and then I'd be like, mom, stop calling me, or like you can't call me during the week, and then it would just be that, like you said.
Yeah,
which is not fair, right?
You didn't give her time, to respect your boundaries.
Yeah, and like reflecting on it now, more recently, it was kind of like, how would I feel if I was on the other side of it, right? If I was my mom and I'm just checking in with my kids, and they don't want to talk to me, but I don't even know, well, when am I supposed to call you, right? I felt like she was walking on eggshells for a little bit after that, a little bit of that like explosion with me kind of snapping a little, which is unfair. So you hit it on the head. I think I could have just done a better job of like providing a solution. Well, don't call me on these days, but here you can definitely reach out to me, whatever.
Yeah, but that's kind of interesting though. To be on the other end, or just to look at the relationship like as a whole, right? You being snappy with her when she calls you, but then you guys have a really good relationship.
We do, yeah.
So I think it comes from overall your relationship is good when you see each other, which was pretty frequently, right? It was on the weekends.
Prior to this quarantine.
Prior to this quarantine, you and we saw our parents almost like every week. Or every other week for you.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you saw them and you had a lot of quality time. And, growing up, you guys had a good relationship. But then it was just once you moved on your own a little further away from her, that's when...
I think it's hard, right?
Yeah,
it's a big change.
It's a big change. But then, you snapping at her didn't affect the relationship. It didn't better it.
Right. But that's where it comes back to our topic, right? It's like, what
Yeah.
made me think that that's okay
Or you didn't even think twice about it.
No, I definitely didn't think about it, but
No.
something in my subconscious, I guess, was like, because I guess I think about it like, what if that wasn't someone that I wasn't as close with? It's not my mom. It's, let's say, like an acquaintance or a colleague or somebody.
They would never call you again.
I would probably not blow up like that.
And
though, on them.
if you did, they would probably never call you again.
And that's kind of our question, right? It's kind of like, what
Yeah.
what makes it okay, or make us feel like it's okay, or act in a way that's kind of like counterintuitive, because they're supposed to be our most loved, the people that are the closest to us.
Yeah.
And yet we would treat them poorly compared to somebody that we don't know as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have the answer to it, right? Because
Yeah,
it's very
I don't think we have
complicated.
an answer.
But
It's
I
just,
think,
yeah.
you know, like I said, it's from,
It's like a matter of comfort.
yeah, it's comfort. And then you know that even if you lashed out, let's say your mom or I lashed out at you, I know that you won't, just
Never talk to you again.
never talk to me again, or just cut the relationship, right? Because there's so much that's already built, so much history.
I think also like knowing your true character, like for example, like when you have your bad days, and everybody has bad days, we're not saying it's not okay to snap or like to
Yeah. Well, I'm not justifying
off
my
steam.
behavior.
yeah.
I know you're not justifying your behavior either. That's why we're reflecting, trying to become better people. Right?
Sure, absolutely.
And better communicators, and to help improve our relationships.
Because I could see how that can turn, like over time, that could, like for example, someone you're really close with, like a relative or a friend or a spouse, how if you do that long enough where you keep taking things for granted, or you keep unloading, and every time you talk to that person you snap at them.
Yeah. It'll definitely put a wedge into
Yeah.
the relationship.
Right. There's only so much I think that everybody can take. There's a breaking point for people, So that's why I think it's important to be aware of that happening, because sometimes we're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think like in that case, it's kind of like, I guess for me, just being aware is number one, but number two, it was being able to talk to her about it, and then really let her know like why I felt that way in the first place. It's like, Mom, I appreciate you calling, but here's why I can't talk to you during the middle of the week
5 times a day.
And it's not because I don't want to talk to you, because I really do enjoy talking with you. And, our conversations, we talk for an hour a lot of times now. And I enjoy that, because that's kind of our main way to stay connected nowadays, especially as we get busier and older, right? And I think when I explained that to her, in the beginning, she didn't take it very well when all three of us, the siblings, confronted her about that, and kind of let her know, hey, just call us on these days.
Yeah.
She didn't listen to any of it, and she still continued her pattern of calling multiple times. And then we gotta like
Not
answer.
But see, that's the thing. It's like I think also now I think she realizes that it's better to have a meaningful conversation versus her calling so many times a day, but you're busy doing other things,
Right.
and it's not quality. It's
Right.
not a quality conversation. Versus if she saved all those little phone calls for like a big one towards the end of the week, or when you're free, or when your siblings are free.
Yeah.
That one quality conversation is better than like the 25 that she was having during the week. And I'm not exaggerating.
Maybe.
Right? It's kind of like, hanging out with that good friend. You may not have seen them for a very long time, but when you do see each other, and the time it's quality time, You feel like you've never left, you've never, been away from each other.
Yeah.
It's where things were left off at, right?
Yeah.
Because that time is quality. Versus you can have a person where you see every single day, but if you don't make that, quality time, or the time you spent with them wasn't meaningful, the relationship doesn't grow. And it's nothing, there's nothing substantial that it's built on.
I think coming back to that point that you made about like how when we're mean or, we're treating them maybe not the same way as we would treat somebody else that we're not as close with, also stems from what you were saying with not just being so comfortable with somebody, but like feeling and knowing that, hey, they still know who I am as a person, my character and my core values and everything. That hasn't changed. And so maybe we're more, because we know that, we're able to act in maybe not the best way sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we know, hey, they'll still love us after this.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll get back to it. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I guess. Do you feel like when you were behaving that way, did you recognize that at the time, that that's how you were coming across to me? And it was my fault too, like, because I felt a certain way, and I didn't say anything either. But I also think because I was willing, I understand that can be my role, because we all need a shoulder to cry on. We all need like somebody to vent to, or to sometimes just, I'm just gonna take it. I'll take it for the team. But yeah. I think I didn't speak up until it kind of started bothering me a lot more.
Yeah, I think during the moment I didn't feel bad, right? Because I was just,
it felt good, probably.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, and like I said, I wanted, because usually when I'm having a bad day or whatnot, I like that space alone for me to kind of reflect and gather myself. But then for you, sometimes, you just love, like, I need you to talk about it now. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it now. Or like you come and, it just felt
I'm trying
like
to fix the problem.
Fix the problem, right? And I'm
Instead
like, I don't want the problem to be fixed now. I just want alone time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what I've learned, especially in relationships. Is sometimes people, I don't need you or want you to fix my damn problem. I just want you to listen and to hear me.
Or not even listen.
Or to give me space to chill out.
Yeah, just give me space so I can gather my thoughts and think about what I want to do.
Yeah. But would you say that it's also fair that, let's say, like, there were times where I'm just like doing our normal thing, and then like something I say or do, you go like, over the top.
Yeah. But sometimes
I'm like, what's going on? I didn't do anything, dude. Like,
yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
That's when it's not me trying to fix a problem. It's
just you got in my way.
Collateral. Collateral damage.
And I just like,
that was my fault too, probably, in your mind. I was just like, well, you should have seen the signs. You should have read the body language. I was clearly not in a good mood, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to speak for you in that.
But then I don't feel bad during the moment. But afterwards, when I'm thinking clearer and I've collected my thoughts and I reflect on what just happened. Yeah.
How soon do you usually do that?
Like a day.
Yeah, that's about right, guys. It's
about a day.
You usually brew for a little bit.
Yeah. A day is fast.
Yeah. No, we usually resolve things by that.
Yeah.
Within a day.
So that is fast.
Because we made I don't know if we made an agreement, but it was more like, I think both of us recognized that it's better to reconcile and to find a solution, not stay mad at each other, than to have this blow up into something really big.
Yeah.
That can jeopardize the relationship. It's kind of like, what's more important, Is it more important for you to be right or to win the argument, or is the marriage more important? Is the relationship more important?
Yeah. So for us, even though we don't always agree on everything, and we don't always come to terms with everything. Like that, you know, we don't agree on things, but at least our agreement was at the end of the day, you know, whatever happens, we don't stay mad at each other, right? A new day, it's like a fresh start every day. Yes, the problem may still be there, but we'll chip at it a little bit at a time, instead of blowing it out of proportions. Because
Yeah.
some of the fights we have, it's when you think about it, it's very
pretty ridiculous.
insignificant, right? But yes, I mean, like with every couple, you know, there's some deeper issues that you may not resolve it overnight, but at least we're not trying to resolve the issue or come to an agreement angry. Right? It's always a fresh day, fresh start, chip at the problem, but we don't bury it under the rug either. So that's the one thing that
That's pretty important.
yeah, that I've learned, you know, being in a relationship with you. But with that being said, you know, after when I do feel bad, you know, I do come and talk to you.
I'll give you credit for that. You do.
Yeah.
We make the effort
Yeah.
to how do we move forward from here? Yeah.
Or how do we prevent that from happening
Again. Yeah. Or what went wrong? What caused that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and we're talking about this. I think why we wanted to talk about this topic was because we recognized that in ourselves, like in our own behaviors, and truly, like you didn't really understand or recognize you were doing that, right? It was unintentional. Same thing with how I was treating, I think, with my mom, our communication. But once we figured out, okay, well, that's what's happening, then we can actually work towards some solutions. And how can I be a better communicator? How can we work on this relationship more deeply? So what do you think for you has helped, or what have you done to change the way that, you know, we can prevent that from happening, where you kind of blow up or use me as a punching bag all the time? I mean, you still do from time to time. Let's be real here, guys. But I will give you props that it has gotten a lot better.
I think I've gotten better at asking for boundaries. Right? Like if I'm about to blow up at you,
instead of blowing up, you will let me know.
I'll let you know, or I'll just walk away and then let you know that I don't want to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if I start coming over and like, hey, what's wrong? Let me pry. Let me try to fix this for you.
Yeah. So I think it's important to set your boundaries, right? What you want, and communicate that. So in my case, I don't like trying to fix a problem when I'm heated, or I'm not thinking clearly, or I'm not calm. And I think you've recognized that, because I've told you, even when you try to come over and try to fix the problems, you know, I've asked you, hey, stop it. I don't want to fix the problem right now. That's not how I function.
Yeah. And everybody's different on how they handle that. You know, some people, they do need to like myself. Like,
I think the clearest when I'm calm.
Right. And that's
collected.
what I've learned to be better at, to kind of meet you in the middle with that. As long as it gets resolved, not like a week later, but let's say the next day when you're calm or whatever, I feel fine about that. But normally my personality and the way I like to deal with it is, if we have an issue, I want to be able to talk about it now and to fix it now. And that's what I'm working on and that's, you know, attributed to you, right? To your help with your style. So we're kind of like meeting in the middle now and having a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'll admit you've been better, which is good.
Thank you. But see, that's the thing. I think every relationship is unique, right? And you have to just because you've built this relationship with someone, or it could be family, friends, significant other, but everyone thinks differently, functions differently, receive, you know, the way you communicate with them differently.
Everybody has a different style,
yeah,
right?
but they take it in differently too.
Yeah, how they receive and give information are different. And you have to understand that.
For some people, they're more sensitive, right? And you have to kind of recognize that. And if the person is very sensitive, then you need to be a little bit more mindful. But then there are some people who, nothing seems to bother them, and those are the type that maybe it's good that you call them and vent to them when you're angry. You have different relationships for different needs.
That's
right?
true. There's like people like myself who has a higher tolerance for being a punching bag, to put it away.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that makes it okay. For you, it's not okay to be mean or inconsiderate, right? With the way you behave, just because it feels good at that moment.
Yeah.
This is why it's important to be aware of yourself, not only when you're at your best, but also at your worst.
Yeah. And it has to be a conscious decision to improve. If we want to strengthen our relationships, especially with the people closest to us, we have to pay attention to how are we coming off to somebody and how are we making somebody feel, because I don't think we normally would do that, just to check ourselves and be like, oh, how am I coming across to this person? How am I making them feel? We don't normally think that way.
Yeah.
At least I don't. I don't know. But having this downtime, it's allowed me to think more clearly and to look at it from a different perspective. And then it's like, oh, whoa, maybe I need to work on that.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little jerk.
Taking jabs at me now?
No, me.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Thank you for admitting that. Not to put all the blame on you, of course. I have my moments too, so.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
Definitely. Okay. Well, I guess that's our takeaway then. Make sure you guys think about your relationships, and, we would encourage you and invite you to kind of reflect a little bit, especially during this time. It's the best time to do it, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And make sure to follow us on our Instagram page at Magnetic Mismatch. We have our YouTube channel as well. And of course, our podcasts are all available on Apple Podcasts and all audio platforms.
Yeah. And we release new episodes every Thursday.
All right, guys.
Make sure to share our content with your family and friends as well. And give us a thumbs up.
Cool. Talk to you later.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.